we need to talk about one of the biggest scams that involves collectibles right now. And it involves these two right here, Alex Alexandrovsky and Alex Kagan, who are known as the leaders of the Wooter Boys. But they're also the CEO and founders of AGS, Cove Care, Wooter, Wooter Apparel, and Wooter Africa. It should also be noted that Master P is a business partner with the Wooter Boys in every single one of their companies, and that the Wooter Boys are a part of Magnati, which is owned by Master P. Now, there are many others involved with this scam, and if you give me the time, I will piece it all together for you. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. You should check out some of my other videos and subscribe if you like what you see. And to all of my slow bros and ho-ohs, which is what I call my subscribers, welcome back. Let's get started. Now, throughout this video, I will be referring to Alex Alexandrovsky and Alex Kagan as the Wooter Boys. But AGS, which is better known as Automated Grading Services, wait, that says Automated Grading Systems, but that says Automated Grading Services too. And that says Automated Grading Systems. So which one is it? And how can people expect them to grade accurately if they can't even get their own name right? How is the rest of this video gonna go? All right, these guys are looking pretty bad already, but let's get back on track. AGS is a grading company that Gary Hayes and the Wooter Boys started back in 2021. Gary has been a part of this company long before Master P was on the board of directors, and even before they had a working proof of concept. Now, Gary's history with this company has been sketchy from the very beginning, which the short version goes like this. Gary, who's the co-founder of AGS, had the Wooter Boys mint him NFTs that he was going to sell through the Aoki Foundation. Gary told everyone that the proceeds were going to go to charity, which was a lie because his real plan was to use the proceeds for his daughter's trust fund.
Do you have time for this? Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that would be successful enough where I could make a few bucks and put it into a trust for his little sister, for Akara.
But after I exposed the Aoki Foundation and Gary Hayes for charity fraud, Gary told everyone that they canceled their plans.
There's an NFT that I announced on some channel or something, where Steve Aoki, Logan Paul, and me were going to have an NFT. We're going to create an NFT for showing. Well, I don't want to say what it shows, but it shows something related to Pokemon. And Steve said he wanted Logan. This is kind of a scoop. Steve said he wanted Logan to take his share of the NFT, the third of whatever money was brought in. And Logan said no. Logan said he didn't want it. He said, I want you to put it in a trust fund for Akara, because he knows my daughter, Akara. He said, I want you to take my share of whatever that produces and put it into a trust fund for little Akara in that. And Steve and I and Logan ended up not doing that thing, right?
Which was another lie because the Wooter Boys announced that they were going to release the NFT at a later time.
We're going to be releasing a really cool NFT in a month. We have a cryptocurrency that powers AGS. It's called collectibles.
Gary also uses his partial ownership of Collecticon and AGS to promote both companies, as well as other financial interests, without ever properly disclosing his position with these companies. But when exposed, he tries to play it off as a joke or claims that it's an honorary title.
And I know that I'm on their website as kind of an honorary co-founder.
Now, the main reason why he does this is to hide his income from Uncle Sam. And it's because he's been committing tax evasion for well over 20 years, which is something that he used to brag about until I exposed him in videos that I've listed in the description below. Now, with that being said, let's get into the main focus of AGS, and that is Collector Coin. Collector Coin is a custom cryptocurrency that was created by the Wooter Boys. And according to AGS documentation and their CEO, Collector Coin is the foundation of AGS, and they claim it powers their entire operation.
We created our own coin called Collector Coin that's basically going to power the whole ecosystem.
We have a cryptocurrency that powers AGS.
Now, the Wooter Boys claim that this isn't a cash grab and that they're in it for the long haul.
This is not a quick, rich scheme or money grab. Our heart, our soul, and all our time is going into this project.
This is a 10-year plan for us. The most exciting thing about all of this is that this is our passion. This is what we're gonna be putting our blood, sweat, and tears into over the next 10 years. This is a long-term game for us.
They even used Meowth to claim that you'll make $1 million from investing in Collector Coin. following up with a comment stating that you'll regret it if you don't. And despite the current state of crypto, the Wooter Boys encourage their followers to buy collector coin while providing them numerous ways to purchase collector coin with Ethereum. And this is all while giving financial advice and telling people that collector coin is going to go back up. Also, their white paper is a 17-page document, where 3 pages are the cover letter and index, while the rest of the pages are filled with short and vague statements implying low risk and high rewards. Now, for those of you who may not know, a coin's white paper is the last thing a developer wants to skimp out on, as it is the standard of showing how serious and invested the developers are. But in addition to vague statements promising low risk and high rewards, the Wooter Boys outline how they will receive at least 35% of the 100 million tokens that are generated every single year, as 20% is automatically given to the founders, and 15% is placed in a treasury, which is then spent by AGS. The Wooter Boys also mention how 15% is automatically given to those willing to lock up their own money in the liquidity pool, which Alex claims that this isn't a cash grab because their share of the funds will be locked up for 3 years.
The founding team, and best of all, there's a 3-year lockup period. This is not a quick, rich scheme or money grab. Our heart, our soul, and all our time is going into this project and making this a big success. And even when the 3-year lockup period does finish, a max sale of 25% of current founder shares will be allowed each year.
This is a lie, because on July 9th, 2022, the Wooter Boys unlocked the liquidity pool and started cashing out, just 4 days after announcing that staking is live, meaning the Wooter Boys waited for investors to lock up their money inside of the liquidity pool before they unlocked it and started draining the funds. Which, if you're thinking maybe that this was because they upgraded their contract, well, no, because wallets that are tied directly to Alex Kagan, Alex Alexandrovsky, and other members of the Wooter Boys, including Carlos Morales, are seen transferring tokens to intermediate wallets that then sell by swapping collector coin for PancakeSwap, BNB, and other tokens. And this is the main reason why the Wooter Boys paired collector coin with different cryptocurrencies on multiple exchanges, as they will swap collector coin from one exchange to another to avoid fees and then sell on the exchange that has the highest yielding coin.
Carlos, when's the last time you sold Bitcoin? Never. Exactly.
I haven't sold anything, like crypto, anything. Nothing, ever. Swap it to
BNB. And
BNB is the move, BNB.
I swapped a ton of BNB yesterday. I took a Bitcoin.
BNB is the move now.
It's almost as good as PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap is fire.
So to summarize, collector coin is AGS's personal degen yield farm, which has resulted in collector coin crashing multiple times, which the Wooter Boys will add just enough back in right before running another advertisement campaign. And to make things worse, the Wooter Boys are trying to claim that collector coin is a 501c3 nonprofit.
At 50%, that's going to be in reserve in the treasury, which will be managed by the Collector Coin Foundation, which will be a nonprofit arm. It's going to be used for marketing. It's going to be used for partnerships. Overall, help grow the economy of Collector Coin, help scale it. Also, it's going to help pay for developers, other incentives.
Now, I checked with the IRS, and collector coin, as of the recording of this video, is not a 501c3. However, the Wooter Boys used to have a 501c3 called Wooter Africa. However, their tax exemption status was revoked after failing to justify and report their earnings and spending to the IRS for not 1, not 2, but for 3 consecutive years. Now, if you're asking what makes collector coin so collectible, well, absolutely nothing, as it's no different than Dink Doink or any other scam coin. But the Wooter Boys want you to believe that it's something more, because part of their plan is to become a decentralized banking platform and marketplace that heavily promotes NFTs and collector coin loans.
In 2023, we plan to have all cards, comics, art, and other digital assets. We hope to also finally launch ownership pools in single collectible and full market ETFs. This way, people can grab a percentage of a market in a collectible space, which has never been done before. We plan to become the decentralized bank for collectibles. That's by 2023. We'll also include collateral-based lending in our protocol.
Now, how does a collector coin loan work? Well, according to AGS sales reps and their CEO, AGS wants you to tokenize your collectibles using their platform, meaning they want you to mint NFTs. And each NFT will represent ownership or a percentage of, and you then exchange these NFTs and send AGS your graded collectibles. And they keep your collectibles until you've paid back your loan, all of which is at a rate the Wooter boys are able to control.
You're going to be able to submit your cards to us, create a digital NFT of the card, be able to take loans out of your card. If you have a high value card, you can take out a loan from yourself in collector coin.
In order for us to make an NFT, we have to keep it in a vault. Otherwise, if you send it back, we can't prove the ownership. Trading card becomes free and instant.
So, to summarize, the Wooter boys want you to take out an unregulated loan using an unregulated marketplace that requires you to hand over your physical collectibles for an unregulated cryptocurrency that they are currently using as a degen yield farm and is absolutely worthless. And trust me when I say that it gets much worse from here. Because in addition to giving financial advice on how to pull off get-rich-quick schemes, the Wooter boys love using their investors' money to gamble with scam coins, NFTs, collectibles, and online casinos, and can be seen partying in almost every single one of their videos. And according to them, it's all business.
Don't get confused. Everything is business.
And they've documented themselves joking around about using funds from the collector coin buyback program to purchase obnoxiously oversized jewelry featuring the logo of their scam coin.
Instead of us doing our buyback, we promise people we support our blockchain.
I mean, it's for marketing purposes, I guess.
It's technically a business expense.
Bro, this is gonna get the price of collector coin up.
But in addition to ripping off their customers, they're also ripping off their employees, as Alex Kagan believes that it's okay to deduct an employee's previous week of pay for failing to meet a specific sales goal in the future.
I set monthly goals for our reps every single month. And if they hit a certain number, they get a bonus. And if they don't meet certain numbers based on certain thresholds, they get a deduction from their total commission payout.
And in some cases, it doesn't even matter how well the employee's sales numbers are, because employees have been put into teams that compete against each other.
Back when we were doing apparel, we set up 2 teams. We had a red team and a blue team of sales reps. We had a draft, like a fantasy draft, one captain on each team. They would draft the sales reps they want and they would go at it, right? And same thing, the winning team would have bonuses, the losing team would have deductions. But the bonuses would always be much bigger than the deductions.
And according to Alex, an employee's commission is 80% of their overall pay. But to make things worse, these performance goals are being set as they move you around from one company to another. Meaning 1 minute you might be selling counterfeit medical supplies or basketball jerseys for Cove Care and Wooter Apparel, but then you're helping Dr. Appleshit stream for AGS the very next. And that's just one example. Here's another.
Be a leader.
And you didn't start out as a manager, right?
No, I started out shipping out clothes for you guys. I basically did a presentation on why I should run the logistics for Cove Care during the pandemic. I was given that opportunity, became a manager, built a big fulfillment team here. I have a team running AGS. We're annotating cards, training this AI algorithm. So there's a lot of different facets of what you need to do and to be organized here.
Based on what we just heard, one could argue that the Wooter boys intentionally move their employees from one position to another as a way to avoid paying out commission. Why? Because constantly changing an employee's role can hurt their skill set by preventing them from gaining sufficient expertise in one area. AGS loves the claim that their grading service is unbiased and more accurate than any other grading company because they use AI instead of humans. But what most do not realize is that humans had to program their AI, and humans had to tell the AI the difference between a 1 and a 10. Here's a clip of their lead developer, Michael, talking about how they program their AI to judge corners.
And for corners, we map the corner to an ellipse, and we compare the ellipsi of the particular card for all the corners. We look at the curve, and we compare the curves for consistency. So the more consistent the curves are, and the more round the curves are, the higher the grade.
Like with PSA, there's a little leeway they give because they understand these cards are, cut off the sheets. And if there's very few perfect corners, well, I'm sure you've probably seen that, and so you could run into that.
There needs to be a margin of error for every single.
Right.
Now, during that clip, you heard Alex Kagan mention a margin of error. And what that means is that the AI has been programmed to ignore a certain percentage of damage and or defect. So let's do a quick recap. So far, the AI determines what a perfect corner is based on human opinion, and their AI is programmed to ignore a certain percentage of error and defect based on human opinion. So it's not AI grading, it's human grading, just automated by AI. But the Wooter Boys also admit that they don't have the time or resources to properly train their AI. So their solution was to let strangers on the internet do it for them.
One really cool thing we want to do is create an app so people can use our software. Because Mike's going to show you. Right now, the software works, so anybody just, they put it even like at a proper setting, they take a photo, and we can tell them the centering, the edges, and the corners.
You could do that almost right now.
Exactly.
Or you could do it right now.
And like people just can, at home, grade their cards. It goes into a database. We won't be able to do it ourselves. It'll take, if we even have to hire a team of 1,000 people constantly, inputting the data.
No chance.
It's not going to happen.
No.
The only way we can do it is to open source it. And there's nothing like that. So we would have people upload the whole collection, right? And then other people will also earn collector points verifying the information.
Right.
And so to train their AI, they created an app that not only collects and sells your personal information, but also allows for any stranger to grade their cards using just the camera on their phone. This by itself debunks their claims of being more accurate than PSA or BGS, as the quality of an image can vary based on the model and brand of a phone, as well as the user's surroundings. And by letting the public train their AI, they're inviting scammers to teach their AI to accept fake cards. Because when fake cards slip through, it's training their AI to accept the next fake that matches that pattern. And that's exactly what happened, because AGS was grading multiple fake first edition cards as authentic, and for quite some time. And it wasn't until other critics of AGS drew attention to it, meaning humans were able to tell that the first edition stamps were fake, whereas the AI was trained to accept the fake stamps as authentic. Now, Alex Alexandrovsky claims to take full responsibility, and supposedly they deactivated those specific cert numbers. But what Alex fails to address is how many other fakes had slipped through, matching that specific pattern. And what's more concerning is what other types of fakes has their AI been trained to accept as authentic. Remember, the only reason why AGS knew anything about these fake stamps is because a complete stranger was able to spot them instead of their own AI. But let's go ahead and listen to how AGS plans on preventing this from happening in the future.
We have created scripts for the future so that we can quickly flag any cards that have a fake first edition stamp. We're working on more scripts to detect alterations, trimming, and even coloring cards so that things like this can easily be detected by computers.
Well, if it's so easy, then why didn't they program their AI to detect fakes from the very beginning? It's because, again, AGS grading is just human grading automated by AI. And if the programmers in charge don't know how to detect certain types of fakes, then their AI will not be able to detect those types of fakes. Now, AGS is going to constantly have to modify their AI because scams are constantly evolving. And it's pretty clear that AGS has no clue what they're doing. And even after these changes go through, it's only going to be a matter of time till scammers figure out what slips through and what doesn't. Now, for those of you thinking, so what? This is just one example. Well, what about the time AGS's co-founder tried to deceive his followers into thinking that AGS was more accurate than PSA or BGS, which he horribly failed to do so after showing off the grades that he had received, because AGS had mislabeled a reverse holofoil Charizard from Skyridge as the regular holofoil version. Now, this is a mistake that most people are willing to look past, but then Gary shows off an Espeon from Neo Discovery that AGS identified and mislabeled as Neo Genesis, and they couldn't even spell Genesis correctly. But according to Gary, none of this is a mistake. Why? Well, why don't you tell him yourself, Gare Bear?
You can't make a mistake, with those computer lasers, the way they do it. So I would recommend giving them a shot.
And now they seem to be handing out 9s and 10s to influencers such as Dr. Applesauce and Super Duper Danny. Now, in addition to mislabeled cards and fake first edition stamps that are graded as authentic, There are customers who have been waiting months to get back their cards despite AGS's 1-month turnaround. And I'm not going to go into detail because Opossum Bud already did a video on this that I've listed in the description below, but these customers are getting the runaround or they're getting ghosted whenever trying to figure out where the hell their cards are. And in another video by Opossum Bud, Gary Hayes and Alex Alexandrovsky doubled down on claiming that Gary isn't a part of AGS and that he never received payment. But what they fail to mention is how they're building Gary Hayes a custom office in their new collectors club. And if you're building dedicated offices for someone you have titled as your co-founder and VP of product, while allowing them to make decisions that impact the direction of your company, and you're using their image and name all over your marketing, then it means he's a part of your company. So he may not be a regular employee, but that's because he's the co-founder. Also, Gary lied again when he told Opossum Bud that he hadn't seen the website.
And I know that I'm on their website as kind of an honorary co-founder.
Now, I absolutely love how these guys claim to be transparent, but yet here they are trying to cover up and hide who can be held accountable with this company. Now, before we summarize and move on, I want to make one final note about AGS and their transparency, and that is usernames are associated with every grade, which is a huge privacy and personal safety issue, especially if someone uses their real name or a known moniker, as anyone with an internet connection can figure out where that person lives. So let's go ahead and give AGS a round of applause for putting their customers at risk and hiding from accountability. But to summarize AGS as a whole, they are more focused on NFTs and crypto scams than they are on becoming a reputable grading company. And this is while offering products and services that they fail to deliver, and they heavily rely on other companies' products that they claim are their own inventions, which, as you will find out here shortly, intellectual property theft while selling fraudulent goods is nothing new for the Wooter Boys. Cove Care is a PPE or personal protective equipment supply company that the Wooter Boys started back in 2020, using pandemic relief loans that were meant to pay employee salaries when businesses couldn't afford to keep their staff due to shutdowns. The Wooter Boys filed for these loans under Wooter Apparel and Wooter Apparel Incorporated, claiming that they could not afford to keep their staff, despite them receiving multiple forms of revenue from their own companies and business partners such as Master P, Game Breakers, and Geriatric Hayes. Also, Game Breakers is a company that sells protective sports equipment, which you're going to see the irony in that very soon. But the Wooter Boys used the funds from these loans to purchase counterfeit 3M respirators, isolation gowns, gloves, and test kits, which they then sold under Cove Care to hospitals, fire departments, schools, and the general public at 500% markups, sometimes even more. Now, if you're thinking maybe the Wooter Boys didn't know these items were counterfeit, think again, because in addition to the Wooter Boys posting videos of highly unsanitary conditions of where these products were being manufactured, the Wooter Boys admitted that the respirators, gloves, and gowns were not acquired from 3M, as the Wooter Boys admitted that they acquired these products from an overseas manufacturer that they use for their other products.
So my partners in China, and we've been in China for 5 years now with our apparel, not just China, all around, in Pakistan, India, Dominican Republic. We have factories all overseas. So we're pretty familiar with the supply chain and distribution networks down there. And my partners there, they were telling me about the coronavirus way before it came here. And they're telling me about the opportunity of masks. We learned a lot of things. Technically, the business model is very similar to apparel, right? We drop ship, we order from the factory, and we bring it to the United States or another country. But the product is different, right? It's masks instead of apparel.
And in addition to customers posting videos that proved that these masks were defective and fake, the Wooter Boys were contacted by 3M multiple times. And 3M had already confirmed that these respirators were counterfeit. But the Wooter Boys kept selling these products and even started to use middlemen to hide sales, eventually resulting in an ongoing lawsuit from 3M. Let's go over some of the details. On December 1st, 2020, 3M's lawyers send a cease and desist, telling the Wooter Boys to stop selling counterfeit 3M products, and stating that they're not allowed to sell 3M products because they're not an authorized distributor. The Wooter Boys respond on December 15th, 2020, stating, "We never claimed to be," but numerous social media posts and emails prove otherwise. Now, despite 3M's warning, the Wooter Boys went on to use a middleman to sell 60,000 counterfeit respirators to an Owata, Ontario, Canada hospital, which 3M sends a team to investigate. And in the meantime, shipments of these respirators and other products are being flagged by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, who reach out to 3M to confirm that the products were counterfeit. They find out that they're going to the Wooter Boys, who they reached out to them again. But the Wooter Boys changed their story, and they now claim they're merely victims of an elaborate fraud. Then, on February 17, 2021, the Wooter Boys are visited by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, who advised the Wooter Boys to recall all 3M branded products and to issue refunds. But based on online reviews, we can tell that the Wooter Boys ignored the federal agent's advice. Then, on February 18, 2021, 3M sends a second cease and desist letter telling the Wooter Boys to stop selling these products with their name on it and to not destroy or return any of the supplies to their manufacturer. So what do the Wooter Boys do? Well, they respond by stating, "We're not selling any counterfeit goods," and claim that they had been contacted by the FBI, the FDA, the Department of Homeland Security, and Customs and Border Protection, whom, according to the Wooter Boys, told them to only issue refunds to those that bought a certain model of mask. Then on March 16, 2021, U.S. Customs and Border Protection visited the Wooter Boys warehouse where they observed several cases of 3M branded products. At which point, Alex Kagan panics and states that the products were going to be relocated as instructed by Customs and Border Protection. Now, I find this statement funny because 3M had just told the Wooter Boys to not send any of the products back to the manufacturer and to not do anything with the products, period. And Customs and Border Protection told the Wooter Boys to issue recalls and refunds, not to relocate them to undisclosed locations. But then on March 24, 2021, 3M shows up at the Wooter Boys Monroe Township warehouse in New Jersey, where they find 84,000 counterfeit respirators. So then, 2 days later, on March 26, 2021, 3M files a lawsuit against the Wooter Boys for trademark counterfeiting, trademark infringement, unfair competition, false endorsement, and false designation of origin, which the Wooter Boys choose to ignore and just keep selling. So on March 31st, 2021, 3M files for an emergency motion for temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction against the Wooter Boys, to which Judge Diane Gujarati states that without the injunction, the public will continue suffering harm in the form of confusion and deception. That's pretty serious. Also, Judge Gujarati even goes on to explain that the actions of the Wooter Boys are putting the lives of medical professionals and the public at risk. So on April 6, 2021, the court grants 3M the restraining order, meaning the Wooter Boys are prohibited from selling, offering, promoting, giving away any 3M branded products, and they're not allowed to associate themselves with 3M in any way, shape, or form. Then on April 19, 2021, Customs and Border Protection seized the 84,000 respirators that were previously identified as counterfeit. So that's it. That's the end of the story, right? Well, no, because while all of this was going on, the Wooter Boys were moving their operations to undisclosed locations.
I mean, to come up with a needle in a haystack in 24 hours flawlessly, bro. Come on, I work magic. I don't do black magic, bro. Good luck getting a sit down.
So what you're saying is we're doing Cove Care LA.
We're doing Cove Care LA, baby. All out, bro. That's why I want to emphasize the LA part. You know, we're on both sides, bro.
Wait, so we already found an office?
Boom. Right here.
Office and the
downtown
warehouse.
Baby, is the warehouse.
We're gonna keep that low key.
Now, another one of their locations that they tried to hide is in Lake Worth, Florida. And if you're one of the Pooter Boys supporters or one of Gare Bear supporters and this upsets you, I don't care. This is a publicly registered business. This is business information, and anybody can look this up. But these guys intentionally fled across the country to hide from the feds, 3M, and other companies they knew they were going to get sued by. And they were in such a hurry to hide from the feds that they spent $130,000 on Penske moving trucks.
If you guys are having a bad day and you guys think you have financial woes or money struggles or whatever kind of problems you're having, we're so stupid that we have spent $130,000 on Penske truck rentals. During this whole time, we could have purchased 3 trucks.
Also, the 84,000 respirators that were seized were merely a drop in the ocean of counterfeit medical supplies that they had already sold throughout the 100,000 plus orders that the Wooter Boys claimed to have fulfilled, which I can confirm, and we can go over some of those numbers right now. Here's a receipt from Alachua County government in Florida, where their fire rescue department had made a purchase from Wooter Apparel in the amount of $167,700 $750 for 40,000 3M branded face masks, all of which were counterfeit. Also, did you notice how it says Wooter in parentheses next to Cove Care? While the email references Wooter Apparel. This is another example of how the Wooter Boys claim to be separate companies despite being one operation. Also, I need to note that this county was planning on making a much larger order as they were looking to purchase over 140,000 masks. But the government employee who normally handles these types of purchases was out because their father just passed away. And due to global shortages, the fire department was scrambling to find PPE and unfortunately put their trust in the Wooter Boys. Here's another one. This time it's from Kodiak Island Borough School District's Board of Education. They spent $44,750. Mind you, this is a smaller amount, but remember, the Wooter Boys have fulfilled over 100,000 orders. Here's another one from Wyoming State Auditor's Office for $197,005.38. That's nearly $200,000 for counterfeit PPE. And what about Collin County government in Texas? They spent $257,615. So we're not talking about chump change here, and by no means are they a small operation. In fact, they had to start using private cargo ships and planes after federal agents became involved. And according to Alex Kagan, Cove Care made $45 million in 2020.
First few months were insane. Obviously, just figuring everything out. With like you said, you're getting into a new business. You don't know shit about animals. I don't know shit about medical supplies, right? All the FDA regulations, all these different certifications, whatever. But we figured it out, and in 2020, we did 45 million in revenue. You know, after the craziness was gone and our business kind of became more self-sustaining, we're thinking, what's next, right? We're always thinking, what's next?
And now that the demand is no longer there, the Wooter Boys claim that they're moving on to factory-to-consumer services.
We realized that the real value add is in connecting factories directly to consumers.
Or at least so they say, because their focus still appears to be on crypto and collectibles, which are two markets that are both unregulated and easy to manipulate. Oh, and after the Wooter Boys fled across the country to hide from the feds, they started sourcing Honeywell masks from this guy right here, Michael Mack, who is also the president and founder of Celebrity Sports Entertainment, as well as some other business endeavors, but none of which are Honeywell. Now, Michael has done events with Steve Aoki, Floyd Mayweather, and the Paul brothers, which is apparently where the Wooter Boys met Logan Paul for the first time. And here's what Logan had to say. Now, 6 months later, Logan would reveal that he regraded the Charizard that he bought from Gary Hayes, who, remember, is the co-founder of AGS. Now, here's what Logan had to say.
I work smarter, not harder, and if I'm willing to sacrifice my $150,000 card for a bias that I think may have taken place on the grading, because guess what, bro? Guess who grades these cards? People. And maybe one day the grader is feeling a certain way and grades it a little higher than they would the next day. Maybe it's a different grader. It's not a perfect science.
So do I think Logan Paul low-key advertised AGS? Well, he doesn't mention their name, but he does have a history of hinting at projects in this way. So maybe they had something planned, but it fell through due to other projects such as Liquid Marketplace. Now, in the case of Leonhardt, I feel like Leonhardt advertised AGS in the way that he did as a favor to Gary. But no matter who they get to review and promote AGS, it will always end the same for them. Why? Because AGS is a shit show of a company that sells fraudulent products and services with a customer support team that acts more like snake oil salesmen than actual sales reps.
So the AI is built to say whether if it's a 10 or not.
Yes, the AI knows all.
So we're actually going to pay you to sell your cards to people instead of taking your money to sell your cards to people. To submit your cards to us, create a digital NFT of the card, be able to take loans out of your card. If you have a high value card, you can take out a loan.
And again, if this company can't even spell the name of a set correctly, let alone the name of their company, how can you expect them to grade accurately? Now, I said this over a year ago, and I'll say it again. AGS is just buying themselves time, hoping that another company is going to buy them out. And until then, they're going to continue washing illegal funds with collectibles and gambling. Now, I'm going to leave you all with a clip that Gary Hayes thought was deleted from the internet. And in this clip, he nervously admits to taking payment for a crypto scam that he participated in. So, I hope you all enjoy. And as always, I will catch all of you slow bros and ho-ohs later.
Right. You can get a sunglass for $2, or you can get a sunglass for $2,000.
Right.
So
Exactly.
if somebody buys it for $2,000, how can you fault them? It's what they care about. It's what
Right.
and it's what makes them happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, these are also the same people that we know that are putting tens of thousands of dollars into cryptocurrency and all that stuff. And then,
Right.
And then bottoming out.
Well, I'm no big crypto guy. They did a crypto on me, and but all my percentage of it, which was small, all went to charity, to the Aoki Foundation.
amazing.
But I ended up with about $3,600 in Dogecoin and Ethereum. And right now that's down to about $1,900. So I'm no big crypto guy. Right now that's down to about $1,900. So all went to charity, to the Aoki Foundation.
Amazing.
Right.